and welcome to UC Today. I'm Susie Harrison, Senior Content Editor, and today I'm delighted to be joined by William Rubbo, who is Chief Revenue Officer at Call Tower. So welcome, William, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for having me on and looking forward to the conversation today.
So today we're going to be talking about Copilot quite a lot, which has been huge on UC Today for us. So where do you think we are with Microsoft Teams and Copilot? And do you look at it as a hype cycle, or are you seeing some really promising use cases for this technology?
Hey, I think everybody, since the announcement of Copilot, which is actually coming up on a year, I think the official release, well, not the general availability, but the official announcement was right around the end of October. So we're coming up on a year back in 2023. I think it's very exciting where we are with Copilot. I think there's organizations that are still trying to figure out how it works into their ecosystem. We kind of chuckle about this, but we do get a lot of customers that call in saying, I want Copilot. And we say, great, what do you want it for? And the first question is, I don't know, but I want it, right, type of stuff. So we're working with customers to make sure that, number one, they understand the needs for it. And then more importantly, or as important, making sure that they know where it fits into their organizations, because it might be good for one department, it might be good for another department, but also the needs of the different folks within an organization there might be different as well. So it's just making sure that you're fitting and you're applying the right actions within Copilot for the right department. So making sure that it's productive for the end users overall. So it's kind of an exciting time. I think we're kind of still in the infancy stage of it overall, so people really understand how to leverage it and how to use it. But definitely, it's a productivity tool that I think across all of the different applications, whether you're looking at it for a Microsoft Teams, or whether you're looking for it on your Outlook, or you're looking for it on some of the Office applications like Word and Excel and so forth, there's definitely a big demand and a big need for it overall.
And what do you view as the main benefits and challenges of Copilot? Like, what are those conversations that you're having with your customers?
I think first and foremost, customers are looking, there is a price tag with it. So I think first and foremost, they're saying, okay, there's a price tag. How could it make our teams more efficient, right? I mean, I think that's really what it's all about. There's a lot of different ways that you can leverage Copilot. Some of the simplest ways that we're seeing customers start adopting it right away are different things like even just writing email, obviously with the use of AI, and then in looking at different types of meeting, type of summaries, transcriptions. When you can't join a meeting, you could actually just kind of hit on the keywords, and you could get a summary of an hour meeting in about 10 minutes. So it kind of summarizes it if you weren't able to be part of that meeting. Other items such as getting all the actions, right? All the tasks that come from that conference call or that meeting that you happen to have, as far as who has them and what are the deadlines for them. So I think when you start looking at different things like that, like eliminating the scribing of meetings and trying to do a recap of the actions at the end, because everything's already being taken into account by Copilot, what customers are looking for is, how could I really reduce all those ancillary type of actions that my employees have to do, so that they can move on to their next task and they can be more productive. And from an employee standpoint, if I'm running meetings all day, if I'm a scribe, or if I'm doing my emails, if I could get any help I can to really shorten the fact that it's going to take me 2 minutes to compose an email, and I could get that down to 30 seconds, I can move on to my next email, or I can move on to my next instant message, and so forth. I'm going to like that as well, because it's probably going to write it better than I am. And I think that's something that employees are looking for. Another good example of that, Susie, is when you're looking at even just the editing of any type of text that you're actually sending over to a group, or you're sending over to an individual. You can kind of tighten in the language, so that instead of maybe writing 3 sentences or 4 sentences, you could probably get the meaning or the point across of what you're trying to get accomplished with the email within probably 1 or 2 sentences. So you kind of get to the point a little bit faster, and making sure that the tone, right, of the message that you're trying to provide is good overall. So there's a lot of different ways that you can leverage Copilot overall. And then I think just the accessibility of being able to say, I need this and I need that, whether you're diving into your SharePoint folders, and so forth. Those are just ways to get access for your employees, whether they're within an office environment or they happen to be in a hybrid state or traveling, that they're going to have access to the tools that they need to make themselves more productive.
And are you seeing industries that are particularly benefiting from these advantages, or do you think it's fairly agnostic, and useful to everybody?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, at least the initial industries that we saw it in were more in manufacturing, healthcare, and financial verticals. That's really where we started to see it. But over the last 6 months, so it came out kind of in November. It was general availability in February, and since that time frame, it's really gone across the entire spectrum. We're seeing some organizations in retail that are actually looking at it right now, and legal and real estate as well. So we're actually seeing it across very different industries overall that are really leveraging it. They might not be leveraging it the same way, but they're definitely leveraging it overall to again make their employees more productive. And there are some back end benefits that are really hard to try to capture. When you're talking to organizations, one of the things that we always have a challenge with is employee turnover. And the more tools that you give the employees to make them more productive, and the ease of use for employees when they're logging in or trying to write an email or trying to get onto a meeting, different things like that. Those tools all really help from a productivity standpoint, which means that you're going to get instant gratification from your employees and they're going to be happier in the position that they're at, which means you're going to have less turnover. And that's really kind of a hard percentage or hard number to put around it, but we have seen at least the initial responses that customers are liking it, employees are liking it, and at the same time, it's making employees more productive, and they're happier about it because they're actually feeling that they're being more productive at the end of the day.
So that's a bit the positive. Looking a little bit more at the challenges, obviously with any AI-powered technology, there's security and safety concerns. What do you think those exist, and what do you think they are, and how can organisations use Copilot safely?
Yeah, there's always security concerns, right? Whenever it is that you're applying any new type of software into an organization, the first box is always making sure that it's secure and making sure that whether it be external, bad folks, right, for lack of a better term, or even people internally that are just curious and trying to access files that they really shouldn't have access to, there is always that concern. When we get a customer that is interested in Microsoft Copilot, the first thing we do is we run a discovery with them to make sure that they understand, what are the different protocols that they need. They need to make sure, especially since it's tapping into everything within your environment, different things like your SharePoint folders. And I'll just give you kind of one prime example there. You want to make sure that you have the right permissions and the right security protocols within your SharePoint folders, because you just don't want a technician out on the road to basically say, hey, I want to pull the salary information for every employee of my company, including the executives, and all of a sudden they just get access to it and they can see that, right? That's an HR nightmare waiting to happen. And that's really kind of a simple example of what could happen. But if you don't have the right protocol set up on the back end, you open yourself up to those different types of exposure, because it's really pulling information from everywhere. So if you don't have the right security levels, depending on the hierarchy that you want, you are going to get a challenge with that. So that's something that we run extensively with our customers. The good thing is that there are different software protocols that you could actually run on the back end to kind of make sure that you're tightening up the ship, as we say, on the back end for that. But you just can't go and implement Copilot across the board and think that it's going to automatically provide you the security that you need. So there are some proper steps that need to be taken into consideration before you go ahead and you launch Copilot, especially across your entire organization.
And one of the great benefits of Copilot has been to embrace this new hybrid style of working. How do you think companies that have hybrid and sort of in-house employees, how do you think they can collaborate best on the platform when they're working in disparate locations?
Yeah, I think one of the easiest examples that we use is, I mean, we're in a global economy, right? In a lot of organizations, whether you're working with customers or whether you're working with vendors or employees that happen to be in remote locations or in different locations overall, it's really hard to kind of keep up, right? I mean, I know, for example, we have employees in 4 different continents, over in Latin America, in Asia and also in EMEA. And it's hard to say, hey, let's have a meeting at 12 o'clock at night, right, East Coast or wherever you happen to be. So when you're looking at different options like Copilot, that's really where you could leverage that. You could say, hey, we're working on the same project. We don't all need to meet at 12 o'clock at night to collaborate. We could collaborate by leveraging Copilot within the different tasks to complete a project, whether it be for development or sales or marketing or account management, et cetera, just across the board to actually work so that when the folks that are maybe a little bit further east, when they're ramping down their day and we're getting started here in North America, we could see the tasks at hand, what needs to be done, and we're collaborating even though we're physically not together or even just virtually on a live call. We're still collaborating back and forth so that I could do what I need to do and get my deliverables done for them and vice versa so that the next day they come in and my part of it is done and we just keep collaborating together. At some point, there might be a need for some live meetings and so forth to communicate, but Copilot really helps probably reduce that by, I would say, 30 or 40%, which is a big amount. So I think that the collaboration piece, you're going to be able to go ahead and leverage Copilot a lot to make sure that even when you're not in a live environment, you can do that, especially with the hybrid environment and hybrid world that we live in today, which is our new reality overall.
Yeah, so that sounds like, I mean, there's a huge possibility for this technology. Thank you so much for joining me today to discuss it, William. And thank you to our viewers for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe to this channel for notifications of videos as they drop. And of course, keep an eye on uctoday.com where we cover stories like this and more. So thank you, William, and thank you to everybody.